Chris Army at the Institute for Golf Fitness. I get a lot of emails on saying, hey Chris, I go to the course, I get starting to feel tired. Do you have any tips you can help me out on on-course nutrition? I'm going to talk about on-course nutrition today, but I'm also going to talk about off-course nutrition. If you have a little bit around the middle, if you have a little Dunlap disease, we're going to talk about nutrition to get that off. So, we're going to talk today about, basically I call it street smart nutrition. It's not the quantity of the food, it's actually the quality of the food. So I'm going to teach you how, or show you how to eat out at any restaurant, anytime if you travel, any place you may be. Quantity versus quality. Eat more, we can lose more. Understanding what type of body type you are is very, very important. You have three types of body types. You have endomorphic, ectomorphic, and mesomorphic. Endomorphic is like Bubba the farmer. Basically, he stays indoors a lot. He's very thick, big bone, very hard for them to lose weight, but very easy for them to gain weight. Next, we have an ectomorphic. Ectomorphic is like a ballerina. It's going to be very small bone, very easy for them to lose weight, but very hard for them to gain weight. Here's the most important one, mesomorphic. It's kind of like me and you. It's about 80% of the people out there. Well, it's very easy for us to gain weight, but it's also very easy for us to lose weight. We're going to talk today about insulin. I don't believe fat makes you fat, insulin influx makes you fat. So controlling your insulin level throughout the day is going to help you lose weight. How do we do that? Most people, let's say, eat at 7, 12, and 7 at night. And let's say for breakfast we have something that's very quick, very accessible, very easy. Let's say it's cereal, let's say it's a donut, let's say it's a bagel. Well, guess what? Your insulin level is going to skyrocket. And I'll talk to you about insulin in a minute. Insulin is controlled by carbohydrates. So it's going to increase your insulin level. So basically when you start dropping around 10 o'clock, when your insulin level starts dropping, your sugar level starts dropping, you're going to start feeling tired and lethargic. Well, guess what? You still got 2 more hours till lunch. So we get to lunch, and now it's hard for us to make a really good decision on lunch because we're so hungry. We eat too much, get our insulin level skyrockets again, then around 3 o'clock we start dropping again, and again, so here we go to 5, 6 o'clock. Now it's time to eat. We're so hungry, it's hard to make a good decision. Most people stay on this roller coaster ride throughout the day. Okay? I'm just going to say, let's add some bridges in there. Let's control that insulin throughout the day. So if we eat at 7, 12, and 7, I want you to eat at 7. I want you to have another little small meal around 12 or around 10. Another meal, there's your lunch at 12. And then another little small meal at 3. And then around 7, 8 o'clock. Okay? So fat don't make you fat. Insulin influx makes you fat. There's 3 ways to get a calorie. And actually 4 ways. Fat, protein, and carbohydrates, and of course alcohol. I'm just going to make a quick thing here. If you're drinking alcohol, it's fine and dandy. If you want to lose weight real quick, go from the brown liquors to the white liquors. Of course, the non-alcoholic beverages, the lower the calories, the better. You know the story on that. Fat, people think fat's bad for you. Actually, fat is good for you. It's good for hair, nails, assimilation, absorption. We're talking about omega-3, omega-6s. You've heard of EFAs, essential fatty acids. So EFAs are good. You know the difference between good fat and bad fat. Protein. The reason that we have to have protein is anything you can bake, broil, or fry. So protein is anything you can bake, broil, or fry. Stuff that you have to prepare. Chicken, fish, steak, shrimp, eggs. So you actually have to take the time to make the protein. Protein, the reason that we want to have protein is because amino acids. How do we build muscle? Over here we're getting the weight training, but as we work out, we're going to break the muscle down. It's going to rebuild itself. It's either going to repair itself by your own muscle, called catabolism, or it's going to rebuild itself with the protein that you want to take in your body. So, protein is very important for building muscle. Next we have carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, they have really no metabolic or anabolic function whatsoever. They're like a carburetor on a car. They give us energy. Okay, so energy, now we have 2 types of carbohydrates, and it's called complex and simple carbohydrates. I'm going to kind of throw a word at you. It's called the glycemic index of carbs. The GI of carbs, or the glycemic index. Basically, that is how fast or how slow that carbohydrate is converted to sugar. That whole thing is really what controls your insulin, the glycemic index of the carbohydrate. Just remember, the lower the number, the slower the release. So lower, slower. Complex carbohydrates, it's double molecular bonded, so it takes more energy or more heat, and it keeps you more on a positive insulin balance. The GI of a carbohydrate is usually lower, like under 60. than a more of a simple. Then we have simple carbohydrates. Simple carbs, very high GI, glycemic index. Simple carbs, usually anything with sugar. You can usually tell by the end called OS. So when we hear of fructose, maltose, dextrose, sucrose, that's what we're talking about, sugar. So basically it takes your body up. It doesn't take much heat or energy, so basically it's going to drop you real quick. So I kind of stay away from as much simple carbs as I can. So I pretty much stay away from anything with OS in it. Stick with more complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates, anything pop top, open a bag. Anything you walk in the store and get. You know, like breads and pastas and rice, things of that nature. So I don't mind complex carbohydrates. I believe that simple carbohydrates really affects your insulin more, so I really look at maybe having a protein and a carbohydrate each meal. We're going to talk about that in 1 second, whenever we get into how we use this in our everyday life. In 100% of the pie, or the weight loss pie, nutrition is 60% of it. 60-70% of it. It's not rocket science in here. 60%, 70%. If you're working out, if you're drinking beer and eating pizza, you can walk until you drop and work out till your arms fall off. But if you're drinking beer and eating pizza, it ain't going to work. Cardiovascular makes up about 20% of the pie. Weight training another 20%. So there's our 100%. Cardiovascular training. The old theory used to be you have aerobic and anaerobic. Basically, aerobic means oxygen. Anaerobic means without. Ana means without. So you have anaerobic activity is what everybody kind of geared towards. You probably heard 220 minus your age, minus your brother's, cousin's, uncle. But anyway, if we cardio, and then now they're bringing out the reports of more of that high interval stuff, that's high intermittent interval training, which is supposed to be very good. Now, I don't know what cardiovascular shape in, so I'm just going to play safe here. Make sure you talk to your cardiologist or your physician before you try to do any kind of high intermittent training. But today we're just going to say cardio, start walking. Just start getting out there and doing 20-30 minutes of exercise. Let's not make it complicated. You don't have to buy any equipment, you don't have to do anything, you can walk around the block. It's going to be pretty outside. So walk about 30 minutes a day. Weight training, the reason that we want to weight train is as we increase our lean muscle mass, it expends 40 more calories an hour, so it takes more heat or more energy to sustain muscle than fat does. Weight training, really no right way or wrong way to work out. There is a smarter, more effective way, especially since we are golfers. There can be things that are counterproductive to your golf swing. You don't want to do anything that's shortened and tightened versus lengthened and weakened. And if you've been to my website, chrisonbygolf.com, you can see I have a lot of System 415G videos there for you that you can buy. You can buy individual workouts. I think they're like $20, or you can actually buy a whole routine that's like $49. So very effective, very valuable that way, and you can do them in your house. I'm not going to really discuss this. Now, how do we make this applicable? How do we use this in our everyday life? How do we use this when we travel? How do we do this whenever I go out to eat? Without getting too technical, I'm just going to make it really simple. I want you to take your left hand, and I want you to take your right hand. I want you to put them in fists. I want you to put them next to you. That's as big as your stomach. That's as big as my stomach, your stomach, everybody's stomach. So I want you to have this much protein. Protein was anything baked, grilled, or fried. Chicken, fish, steak, shrimp. And I want you to have this much carbohydrates. What was carbs? Anything you pop, top, or open a bag. Kind of stay away from simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates like the rice and the breads and the pastas and all that. So, how do we make this applicable in our everyday life? We go, and I'm going to teach you how to make good, better, and best choices. Alright, so how do we use this when we go to a fast food restaurant? Let's say I'm going to show you how to make a good, better, and best choices. We go to Taco Bueno or Taco Bell and we order a burrito. That's a good choice. Then I'll order with a good choice, and a better choice might be a grilled chicken soft taco, but the best choice might be a grilled chicken soft taco, no cheese, extra lettuce. Okay? Let's go to McDonald's. We go to McDonald's, we can have a double quarter pounder with cheese. Okay? Or we can have just a regular small cheeseburger. That's better. Or we can have a grilled chicken sandwich. Now, if you like salads and all that, that's fine with me. I'm a meat and potato guy. If I eat salads during the day, I get so hungry by the time nighttime comes, it's just, I can't even function. So I usually eat more at night than I do if I have more of the complex and the protein throughout the day. So, and we'll discuss that in a second as well. Let's break it down to the hand theory again. Let's just take that Taco Bell, let's just say, okay, we have the burrito. Or let's say we have the grilled chicken soft taco, no cheese, extra lettuce. Where's the protein? That's your chicken. That goes in the hand, correct? Yep. All right, over here we have the tortilla. That goes on the right hand. That's my carbohydrate hand, right? Yep, everything fits. Does beans fit on there? Nope. Does cheese, I don't mind cheese, but this, basically you get the point. Okay? So over here is the Coke sugar, right? Coke simple carbs, right? Sure. Does that fit on that right hand? Nope. So we have our protein on the left. Over here we have our tortilla with our lettuce. I like to have a lot of lettuce, so I put a lot of lettuce on it. And I love hot sauce, so I put more hot sauce on it. Go to McDonald's. You get over there and you have the chicken sandwich. Got a grilled chicken sandwich. I got the grilled chicken. That's my protein, correct? Then over here I have my 2 pieces of bread. That's my complex carbohydrates. French fries fit there? Nope. Coke fit on there? Nope. If you want to go to more of a diet, I don't mind diet Cokes and stuff. I would like you to go more of a white diet drinks like a Diet 7-Up or a Diet Sprite or a Fresca. Okay? Now we go out to dinner. And we basically go to a Mexican restaurant. And we sit there and let's say, how many times you go to a restaurant, you're at a business meeting, and you're sitting there talking and munching, and I say, well, how many chips do you have? You say, I have no idea. Well, once you just take 10 of them out, put them on your plate, crunch them up, move the basket away from you, and now you know you just had 10 chips. This feels like about 30. All right? Now it's time to order food. When you look at a menu, guess what? All the cheap stuff on the left, all the expensive stuff on the right. Unfortunately, when you're starting to eat more protein, it's going to be a little more expensive. So you kind of want to stay to the right side. And we order, we'll make it simple. I got to have my protein, right? Well, I got to order chicken, fish, steak, shrimp. So I got to make that choice first. Over here, I have my carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates, of course, is going to be my tortillas, my breads, my beans. So how do we put that together? Well, I want fajitas. So you can order anywhere you go, you can order exactly what you want. The only thing you have to decide is, what protein do I want? Chicken, fish, steak, shrimp? Then you got to decide on what carbohydrates you want. I want a rice, do I want beans, do I want a baked potato? That's all you really got to do. So any restaurants you go to. So let's say we go to that Mexican restaurant, we have the, I want to order some fajitas. So I want to order some steak fajitas. Great. There's my protein. Now guess what, guys? When you go out to eat, it's going to be very hard for you to get too much protein. It's going to be easy to get those carbohydrates, rice, pastas, breads, because those are very cheap and they're very, that's why most of your Italian restaurants are very more cost effective, because carbohydrates are very inexpensive to make. So protein, chicken. I have my steak fajita. Now here's where we got to be careful on this right hand, because guess what we got? We already had those chips, so those fit on that hand. Well, now we have the tortilla, that's going to fit on that hand. Now we're going to have the beans, that fits on my hand. And then we're going to have the Coke, that fits. So basically, as you can see, this is going to pile up very, very fast. Protein, he's still down here. It's kind of hard to get enough protein, but the carbohydrates over here. So how do we use the hand theory? Protein, steak, fill it up. Carbohydrates over here. Guess what? You have one tortilla. That's all you get. You better have a lot of rice. Does the rice fit on there? Well, if I have a little bit of rice over here, half a tortilla over here, it can fit. But the whole point is, don't pile it up. So that's how we eat when we go to lunch. Now this is going to be this is where a lot of people make the mistakes. We said that we want to stay and have the 5 meals a day. So we're going to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 bridges. Each of these meals, we're going to have protein and carbohydrates on each meal. Complex carbs. At the end of the day, if carbohydrates, all they did was give you energy, like a carburetor on a car, well, by the end of the day, do you need more energy or less energy? Exactly. So if you need less energy during the day, wouldn't it be smarter if we stick with the protein, and then I'm going to ask you to go to more fibrous carbs. So then now we're going to bring in the vegetables. So at the end of the day, we're going to have the broccoli, the beans, any kind of green, anything fibrous, the salads. If I eat it during the day, personally, by the end of the night, I'm hungry. I'm done. I can't make a really good decision on what to eat, and then I usually have too much of carbohydrates. So, to get out of this, fat don't make you fat, insulin influx makes you fat. It's not the quantity of the food, it's the quality of the food. You can actually eat more and lose more. And let's talk about on-course nutrition. On-course nutrition, I'm basically going to ask that you drink water every 2 holes. So if you can drink it 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 2 holes, keep hydrated. But on your on-course nutrition, I am going to add a little bit more fat to you, because there's 3 things that slow the glycemic index of the carbohydrate down. Number 1 is fat, number 2 is fiber, number 3 is protein. So as you can see, when we talk about daily nutrition or daily food intake, we're always going to have protein, so that's going to help slow the glycemic index of the carb. And then we're going to have fibers, but also as you increase your protein, it always has more fat in it, so that's actually going to slow the GI of the carb down as well. So when we're playing golf, I don't mind if you have the peanut butter and crackers. I believe that the peanut butter is basically because of the fat in the peanut butter is going to keep you more of an insulin balance throughout the day. So what can we eat when we're playing? I want you to get up and have a good breakfast. Now, a good breakfast to me is number 1, I got to have protein. Food to me is just like breakfast. It's not breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, meal 5. So if I have chicken available, I'm going to eat chicken. Most of the time I have 4 or 5 egg whites for my protein. And then over here on my complex side, or my carbohydrate side, I usually have some oatmeal or maybe a piece of bread. Okay? Then for food, I want you to, when you play, to try to eat every 4 holes. So we have breakfast, then we eat around at hole 4, and then we eat before the turn on 8 or 9, and then we eat again on 13, 14, and then around 17, before you get to 18, I want you to eat again. Keeping yourself on a positive insulin balance throughout the day. You might have thought about sometimes whenever you're playing, all of a sudden your energy starts dropping on the turn. 11 and 12, well, you had a big breakfast, you haven't eaten. Around 12, you start dropping. 13, 14, you start making mental mistakes. Because guess what? When your nutrition, when your insulin starts dropping, your physical is going to start dropping. And then guess what? Now you're going to mentally start breaking down, because now you're trying to force the shot, and now we're going to be, the game just goes crazy. So I want you to eat every four holes during that. Go ahead and make